Hello everyone and welcome to week 10 of the GBA D-League. Your New York Empoleon took a loss last week against Techno, a brand new coach. Congratulations to Techno. Hopefully he puts in some work against Danza later in the season. But we ourselves right now have a match ahead of us for Danza and the Los Angeles Nidokings, who are currently 7-2. Really solid season this year. One of his losses only coming in a 5-5 timeout, and the other to Leo. So very respectable record. We have our work cut out for us. Now, before I get started, I just want to say this is the 50th draft league battle that the New York Empoleon will ever be participating in. So I'm really excited about that because I think it's really interesting how far we've come. For anyone who's keeping track at home, in our 49 battles so far, we are currently 33-16 with a plus 66 differential. So pretty solid so far, but Danza obviously can make that a little bit worse. My goal is to make that better. If we beat Danza, we still have a chance for that 2 seed, depending on obviously Zazo's result and ourselves. But either way, you still have a chance for that bye. But if we lose to Danza, we're straight up out of the running for it. So his team, absolutely horrifying team that has been putting in so much work for him this season. Weavile, Amoonguss, Zerora, Marowak, Alolan Form, Silvally, Drampa, Mega Gallade, Tornadus, Therian, Toxapex, Mesprit, and Steelix, with Drampa and Tornadus being his possible Z users. Now, absolutely terrifying team. He's got 3 Pokemon with Regenerator. He's got Silvally that can be any type. He's got Zerora, which is incredibly fast. So we have to make a team to counter what he's going to throw at us. And I think personally, this team is going to be centered around a Scarfed Gardevoir. Choice Scarf Gardevoir with Moonblast, Psychic, Thunderbolt, and Trick. 244 speed and a timid nature is required for it to outspeed a max speed Jolly Zerora. Like, are you kidding me? That's insane. If I have any lower than that, I actually don't outspeed him, even if he's not Scarfed. So needed that max special attack and the rest going into HP. Thunderbolt is really there for things like the Toxapex, but being able to hit the Weavile instead of the Psychic, and the Torn T almost dies to a Thunderbolt as well. So that's what that's there for. I see myself tricking onto an Amoonguss or a Toxapex or potentially a Steelix, as those are all reliable switch-ins, potentially to a Scarfed Gardevoir if he knows that I'm Scarfed. And that way I can cripple one of his walls. If I do get the Black Sludge, I can try to trick that onto something else and try to like mix things around in his team. Now, a lot of his team doesn't like care about Trick so much. Silvally, Drampa, if it's a Z user, Torn T if it's a Z user, or Mega Gallade, all really obviously can't be tricked. So that is something to think about. But I do like the idea of having it as something that I have access to this week. Now, Moonblast puts in a ton of work this week, hitting the Weavile. It 2-hit KOs the Zerora, 2-hit KOs almost all forms of Silvally unless they're super bulky. Definitely 2-hit KOs Drampa. Mega Gallade gets OHKO'd by it. Torn T gets almost 2-hit KO'd by it if he's not bulky. Mesprit doesn't like taking it either. So Moonblast definitely going to be the move of choice most of the time, but the other moves are there as tech for filler, and then Psychic is really there for Amoonguss and Toxapex core. Now, next up, we have Aeolus the Tornadus. My own Tornadus Incarnate form coming this week is going to be the Life Orb Prankster with Psychic, Heat Wave, Air Slash, and Defog. Life Orb, Air Slash, OHKO's a non-invested Mega Gallade, which is really nice because I don't need the Hurricane Miss at all right now. Air Slash puts in a lot of work with the stab coming off a base 125 special attack, and then a bunch of investment, not max investment. It is max speed and a timid nature in order to outspeed a Mega Gallade by 1 point. And then Psychic is there again for that Toxapex and Amoonguss, and Heat Wave is really there for things like the Weavile and the Steelix. So Defog, very important this week. I do not like seeing rocks, but just because obviously Tornadus and Victini don't appreciate rocks and it wears down my team, and I don't have a ton of recovery this week, so don't appreciate seeing rocks, but I'll have to play around them if he does manage to get them up. He has a couple of very reliable rock setters in Steelix and Mesprit, so that is something to consider. Next up, we do have Milotic, the Ninian the Milotic with the Flame Orb. It's going to be Scald, Recover, Ice Beam, and Mirror Coat. Mirror Coat really there for a Giga Drain. Amoonguss, nothing else. Maybe a Torn T with some sort of Z move, or a Drampa with a Z move as well. Scald, I'm hoping I get a couple of burns this week. In all of my mock battles and everything I've done, I had 1 burn and it actually cost me something as opposed to helping me. So really hoping Milotic from the in-game world does a lot better than Milotic in the showdown world. But We are going to be rocking 180 and a bold 180 defense and a bold nature. With the Flame Orb, it gives me the ability to survive most hits. And if he's a Jolly Zero Aura, then his Plasma Fist doesn't 2 KO my Milotic. And a little bit of special attack, a little bit of special defense. Really not that important of investments, just for a little bit more damage here and there. I think that the special defense stat is really important as well. I don't usually pay a ton of attention to it, but I did want to dump some stuff into it, being able to take hits from the Drampa and the Amoonguss a little bit better, and then being able to dish out a big Mirror Coat with the appropriate amount of damage on something like that. Next up, we do have Kurth Naga, the Haxorus, who has had some trouble so far. I believe he has died in both of the matches he's come to and not gotten the kills I've expected him to get, but this week it is a very exciting set with the Dragonium Z Outrage, which should kill anything, his only fairy type being a Fairy Silvally, which does make sense against my team in some regard and doesn't in other regards. And so I'll see if he does bring that, but Dragon Dance can outspeed everything. I have the investment, as you can see, it's the same speed stat as Gardevoir to outspeed a Zeraora after one Dragon Dance. Low Kick hits the Weavile really hard. It hits Drampa really hard. Obviously, Outrage hits it harder, but if I don't want to lock myself into that, and it hits Steelix harder than Earthquake does, which is really important. Mold Breaker will allow me to push through certain things that he might have, but I think that the Z Outrage should just get a kill, barring a Fairy Silvally, and if, that'd be a good switch in prediction on his part if he does go for that. If I do go for the Dragon Dance on that switch into a Fairy Silvally, then he's going to be in a lot of trouble because there's not a guarantee that I have the Outrage. I could have the Poison Jab as well. So, something to think about for him. Next up, we have Victini holding the Colbur Berry. It is going to be V-Create, Zen Headbutt, Flame Charge, and Quick Attack with a lot of speed and a max attack Adamant nature. Now, this thing is going to be able to outspeed anything after a Flame Charge, and then Flame Charge into V-Create should kill one of his faster threats in his team that he tries to bring in on this thing, including the Mega Gallade, the Torn T, the Zeraora, and the Weavile. Flame Charge plus V-Create would also kill a Steelix, it also kills a Mesprit, it obviously kills an Amoonguss, and Toxapex does not want to see a Zen Headbutt. The only real switch in he has to this thing reliably would be an Alolan Marowak, which I obviously can switch out into my Milotic on if he does bring in. So we do have options with this Victini. I think the Colbur Berry is a great tech this week personally. I think it allows it to take a knockoff from a Weavile extraordinarily well. It allows it to take a knockoff from a Torn T and dish out a Flame Charge into a V-Create. So I do have that option to keep it healthy and keep it going. That's why I don't want to see the rocks this week, because rocks start wearing down the usefulness of that Colbur Berry. But barring the rocks, I think we do have a really good chance of making this Victini put in some work with that Flame Charge and the V-Create and Quick Attack. First time I'm running Quick Attack, I remember actually talking to Tom about this weeks and weeks ago. I was like, I don't really, yeah, I have a little bit of priority on my team in Quick Attack Victini if I really wanted to run it, but I really don't see that being an option. And this week, it just makes so much sense if I do get a V-Create up and he switches into a weakened Weavile because I have my Stealth Rocks up or something. Quick Attack still does about 25% to a Weavile, or a Zeraora, and I can outspeed them even if I don't have the Flame Charge boost and get at least that chip damage off to maybe make it easier for something else to get the kill later. So I do want to have that Quick Attack. I thought a couple different moves in that space, but I really didn't see any more value out of any coverage, and I didn't see any value out of a substitute, which is another thing I considered for that slot. And lastly, we do have Bisharp holding the Aka Berry with a lot of bulk this week, a bunch of HP and a bunch of special defense, which guarantees that it's going to take a Flamethrower Z move from Drampa or a Heat Wave Z move from Tornadus. Both of those can't kill from full. Now, we do have the Stealth Rock on it this week with Knockoff, Sucker Punch, and Low Kick. Max attack, not max attack, but a lot of attack Adamant and a little bit of speed, which just guarantees he'll outspeed some of his slower things no matter what he decides to do with them. I doubt he'll put speed investment into things like the Drampa or the Steelix, but I don't want him to have the option to do so. So I did just have a little bit of investment left and decided to put it into speed. Sucker Punch is going to be a really valuable thing this week. Obviously, his team is extraordinarily fast. I don't have any sort of setup on this Bisharp because I have it everywhere else on my team. So I think that having access to Sucker Punch is going to be really valuable. I really do believe that my rocks are big this week. His Weavile, his Marowak, his Torn, they all don't want to deal with it. chipping away at things like the Zeraora. I expect him to be kind of switch heavy. Having watched his prior matches, I know that he has no qualms about making the appropriate switches into things to gain momentum. So having the rocks up is going to be very, very big for me. Depending on what he brings, Bisharp is a decent lead. It handles everything except a superpower Torn T, if he does bring that, and a low kick Weavile pretty well. And I really do think that this set has a chance to put in a good amount of work. I think this is the team that Danza is going to see tomorrow, and he's going to have to deal with it or not, and we are going to be 7-3 in this league. 7-3 would lock up a playoff spot for us, so I'm really excited to say that. We do need a win against Danza here, though, and I hope that you guys come back tomorrow for that battle. I hope you enjoy the battle tomorrow, and I hope you guys have been enjoying all the GBA D-League content. We are going to be rocking our 50th battle here in Week 10, trying to clinch a playoff spot for the GBA D-League Season 4. I encourage you guys to go watch the Token Minorities channel and Danza himself, see what he's bringing, see what's going on over there, and shout out to the Token Minorities in general. I have a lot of affinity to those guys because they are graduates of the same school as me, in the same year as me, and who knows if I had known them back then where I would be right now. I may not have my own channel, I may be a part of theirs, but anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow with that battle. We are going to be taking on Danza, currently the 2 seed, 7-2, looking for a bye into the playoffs ourselves, still fighting for that spot. I hope you guys enjoy. Take care, everyone.